Hi there, Sandra here. I'm doing another pop-up design today, and what I'm doing is like a jungle theme. So this is the insert for my card, and as you can see, it's got a lot of dimension. It's got leaves which stick up, and it's got the flowers in here that will pop up when the card is opened. So I'm going to show you how to make the flowers and how to attach them so that they do pop up. I haven't put it into a cover yet for the simple reason I don't need to. This is just an example card for me. So in the file you will find the SVG for the flowers, and there's 4 parts to these. First one is the base with a couple of slots cut into it, and then we have this one, and it has a tab on it. I haven't put score lines in because I think it's better not to have them. What you want to do is to fold it along where the tab is, and it is pretty obvious where the tab is supposed to be. Take the other end of it and fold it up to that tab, and then fold it in half from there. That way you'll know exactly where the center fold is going to be, and there won't be any nasty surprises later on. Fold it over. Now if you're making this from paper, as I am this one, then score lines really are just a bit of overkill. If you're making them in card, feel free to add score lines if you want to, but to be honest, I think it's just as easy, if you do want them, to wait until you've got it cut out and then to fold it manually like that. If you want the score lines folded, you can do it like that, and you're not going to damage your paper or your card doing it that way, which sometimes you can if you do it on a machine. All right, so that's the second piece. A third piece is done in pretty much the same way, only this time we match up the legs. We want those to be matched up like that, and then the extra piece can be folded down like that. Now you must pay attention to where your tab goes, because you're going to be seeing the inside of this one, not really the underneath. The tab can go underneath on that one. With this one, again, you can probably put it underneath. With the one that goes in the center, you want to put it inside. So I'm just going to add some glue to this. I don't normally use this type of glue for pop-ups because it isn't strong enough, but it's strong enough to do a paper join like that, so I'm not worried. There we are. And you can see that we have the 2 legs which can go out either side, so you can fold those back just so they've got a crease line in them. And then we have the center piece, which looks a bit different because it's curved in the opposite direction. And again, want to line up the legs. That's the important bit. The legs go either side, then we can fold over the excess, and that can go on the inside this time because it won't be seen. There we are. So we got what's looking a bit like an icing tube. That's just me. I'm just into that kind of thing. So this one goes inside the next size up, and you put it in and you pull it through as much as you need to get it level with this base, and then this outer flap here, you add some glue and you stick the inner flap to it, and you do the same on the other side. So we now have 2 legs joined together. That is important because that will keep your flower together rather than having it come apart. And so you can see you get that inside look there. You put this one through here, and then you can fold this one in half, just lining up the slots, so not difficult to do. It will fold automatically if you're going to put it in the fold of a card anyhow, but put a fold line in there. And then these legs go through the slots, like so. You pull them tight, add a little bit of glue, fold it down, pull the other side and fold that down. And then when you open it up, the whole thing opens. So how do you put this inside a card? I'm just going to move that piece to one side. If you're going to put it into a centre fold, it's very easy. You fold it in half. You put it up to the centre fold by putting the card upright like that. You apply glue to here and you close the card over. You let that dry. Most important, let it dry before you do anything else. Then you turn it over, you open up the card, you apply glue there and you close it. And then when you've done that, it will be opening up in the centre, just like I've done with this one here. So that's the easiest way of applying the flower to your card. Now the other way is to use a strap. And what we do with a strap, I've got another example here. We just, it's determined to fall over. We just use a strip of card. Now, in some cases, you might want to cut out a piece of decorative card the same type as your background. In other cases, you might be leaving it plain. But what you do is you fold over an edge and you fold it to the back of one side after you've glued your flower to wherever it's going. Now you want to make sure that this doesn't hit the centre line because obviously it'll get damaged if it does. But you glue one side down so it's nice and stable. Add a strap there, fold that over and then cut it off at the centre fold. And then you want to fold this bit the same amount as that area there. So that to that should equal that to that. And then that folds over and it goes to the centre line so that it will pull the flower open when the card is open. So if I put some glue on this, it might stick it down, I don't know, because I've pulled it up and taken it down and pulled it up and taken it down a lot. So put it down there. I've got glue on my fingers now. And then when it closes, apart from that one's got a bend in it, it closes down like so and then opens up like that. So it's pretty easy, and if you look from the top, it's no different to when, come off. It's no different really to when you have a card in the other direction and you just have a step, for example, when you're putting words on cards and things like that, you have a step, you use a step. So that distance there equals that distance there. And if I had decent glue on there, it would have stuck, but it's not decent glue, so it hasn't stuck. At least it takes longer to stick. It will stick, it just takes longer to stick, that's all. If you're testing out, you can take two approaches. You can either use a glue gun, in which case where you put it is where it's going to stay for a test, or you can use a glue which isn't very strong, so you can peel it off and remove it if you need to. You just have to work out which version you like to do. So open and closed, right? So that's how you do it. So for this one, I designed a background that I wanted and I added loads of leaves and flowers to the image. Put my flower in here with a strap. Now you notice that this strap is cut from the same type of pattern. I literally printed this twice so I'd have some material for straps. Didn't have to, but I did. And then I put this one in the centre. Now I also cut out some leaves which are included in the file, different sizes, a couple of different shapes, and I've just applied them. Now you might be thinking, well, they're a bit curvy, and that's because all I've done is I've applied gouache paint and then I dried it and I allowed it to curl before I cut it. So when I cut it, I was making sure it was held down flat, but I allowed it to curl. And that way you get some extra dimension. So you can add them here and there. And I've got some very tiny ones, and I've got some medium-sized ones like that, and I've got some bigger ones. So yeah, I've just put them around. If you don't want to cut another piece out of the same type of pattern because you haven't got it, you don't want to print off another page, then you can hide it by putting something over the top of it. And you can add more flowers if you like, particularly if you're doing smaller flowers than I've done in this one. These are fairly large, and to add more of those would be a little bit of overkill. So that's how it's done. It's very easy, but it looks pretty complicated. When you open the card, you think, oh, wow, hard to do, but it actually isn't. So this is what we call a strap, and this is just a center pop-up. Very, very easy to do. This isn't difficult either. You just need to practice it so that you know that you've got your strap the right length. As I said, I will give you the file in a link down below so you can download it and use that flower design. If you want to make the flower petals a different shape, you can. And what I suggest you do is draw different shapes around it. If you put the SVG into a drawing app, say on an iPad, you can copy the lines but alter the size, dimensions, shape of the petals. And obviously you can make the SVG bigger or smaller depending on your preference. Now the only thing I would say, if you're making the SVG smaller than this, you want to make sure that your straps, your tabs on the flowers are big enough to go through. So either make them bigger in the file, because obviously if you shrink down the whole file, everything gets smaller, including the tabs, or you can add them after it's cut and just put a couple of straps of card onto the flower shape, the petal shapes. It's up to you, but just bear in mind that if you do make them smaller, everything gets smaller, and it does make it a little more fiddly to do if those straps that go through from here to here get made shorter, thinner, more fragile. But other than that, you can use all sorts of papers, cards, patterned papers, and all sorts of things to get different results on the flowers. And you can cut leaves in whatever you like. Paint them, don't paint them, whatever, to make things a little different. So this particular one, as I said, I did with like a jungle theme, which is why I gave it a green background. But you can use whatever patterned paper you like, whatever design you like. You don't have to use mine, but I'll give you the file for that as well. Okay, that's it. Hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you again soon. Take care now.